I'm
You want?
like, good afternoon. Hey, Carly. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Joshua and I are here. Oh, God, I'm echoing. Hang on, hang on. Let me turn down my phone. Ugh, that's horrible. The technology of this is so much fun. So, we have Joshua. How do you pronounce your last name?
Tosteson,
Tosteson.
son of Toste.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, so what lineage are you in? What is that? What is that? It sounds like Viking or something.
It's totally Viking. It's Norse.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that. So, welcome and thank you for doing this. We're sitting here talking about gongs because, as you might notice, he's got just a few behind him. And I met Josh through Marin when she came home with a very large cave gong and sent me a picture. And I'm like, what's that? And how do I get one? And you had, would you get the first five that came into the country?
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, yes, I think so.
I think you had the first five. So I bought this one off of a sound file, and I don't think I've even told you this. I You sent the sound file and I played it in my gong room to the rest of the family. And one of my gongs is like, "Well, where is he? I'm supposed to be here in the group." You know? And then Melissa bought the King Gong at the same time, and you shipped them to my place. We got them both, and I just saw her yesterday for the first time in a few years. So it was like the family is reconvened. So thank you very much. He's been an amazing addition to the family.
It's been a joy to see like all the pictures through time. I just love it so much. It was such a beautiful connection, and
I
yeah.
know. I know. And did you know that I special ordered one about a year later from?
Yeah, no, I think you had told me and Madhava mentioned it too, and
Yeah,
I saw that beauty and wow, and I've heard that beauty too. What an
she's
incredible
gorgeous.
incredible instrument.
She is gorgeous. Adrian. Okay, Adrian, you don't have one of these gongs yet. Could be your next gong. Okay. So, welcome everybody in YouTube. And I don't think there's anybody in Facebook yet. But oh my god. Okay, so I'm under tornado watch at the moment. I was on a session with somebody in California and my phone's like blowing up and I'm like, okay, what's going on? I've got 10 weather apps going off. So, if I disappear real fast, just look for that spiral in the sky. I'll be up there with hanging on to my computer and a gong. The things you have to deal with. um, you have okay. You sent me your LinkedIn thing, which I'm not even on LinkedIn anymore, so I can't even go there. Tell me what amazing path of service you are on.
Hmm.
It looked really cool.
Well, sure. I mean, it's the same path of service you're on. We're working with some similar and some different tools. It's the same
Hmm.
path. But I guess you'd say I'd call myself an environmentalist. So
Uh-huh.
I'm 50 years old. I've been in, the professional phase of my life now for 27, 28 years.
Hmm.
And so all of that has been, yeah, in service of awakening to how we can live in a good way here with a lot of us on this planet.
Hmm.
For a long time to come with life on Earth and the care for life on Earth at the center of it. So, I've been in inquiry for that whole time about what's the best way to be of service in that. Like, what does that
Hmm.
actually mean? And we only have we may have millions and millions of lives, but I'm only aware and I'm counting on one. So at least I'm aware this one's going to end, and so I'm always asking the question, what's the best use of my time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what does that, and what does best mean exactly? So I've spent a lot of years reflecting on that while in practice on that, and I can share
Hmm.
more details, but that's kind of it in a nutshell. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. A Mother Earth steward.
yeah,
He's an environmentalist and an amazing musician. He's going to play music for us today. I
beautiful.
don't know if I can get that big gong to play without killing the mic, but I'm going to make an attempt later. So, and you are in New York City,
I am.
Brooklyn,
I live
right?
in Brooklyn with my wife, Sarah Fikri, and my two living daughters, Azalea, who's 10, and Dahlia, who is 8. We have a
Mhm.
hamster who is Buttercup.
Buttercup.
Buttercup's in the house. Yes. Yep.
I love it. I love it. So why New York? Is that where you
Well,
were born or from or?
no, I grew up in Boston, but I've been here really since 1996 or 7.
Mhm.
First at graduate school, and then I've been here in Brooklyn for a long time. 23 or 24 years. It's interesting because I'm a nature boy, right? And um, there's something very powerful about being in a place where the entire world, all walks of life, all faiths, all beliefs, all colors, all
Mhm.
nationalities, all
Mhm.
origins, everything is everyone's kind of mashed up together. I love that a lot. Um, and where I live specifically feels much like a village. So it's got
Mhm.
a real village feeling, and it's encased in in Babylon, I guess. But
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
we live our life on foot.
Yeah.
I'm really never in a car except to get out of the city. Yeah, I'm on the bike. I'm on my feet. Everything that we need is in walking distance until the supply chain entirely breaks down with the apocalypse, and then where will we be? So there's that. There's that.
Yeah, there's
but
that part.
but while the apparent resilience of our entire global supply chain system hangs together,
Mhm.
it's a way of life that we love a lot, actually.
How interesting, because I have thought about the same thing as I live in the middle of 26,000 acres in a village with nothing going. I better learn to like pine cones when that happens. There's nothing here, and then by then it's just like, okay, I'm done. Take me home. I'm done. Okay, Renee, you found us on YouTube. Welcome. I think you posted a question about who shows up on Facebook. Not as many. So thank you guys. We do have a few people on Facebook. So, New York City. I have somebody else that lives in Queens that I know. I don't think she's on here yet today, or she's not talking in the stream yet. My internet on the phone is going in and out, so I'm not seeing all the comments that are coming in. Thank God I'm hardwired on the computer. The when I went outside between the session I just did and this, I went outside to say hi to my plants and take some pictures, and the energy from the storm that's coming is so electrical it actually hurt. I could feel all that stuff coming in for whatever is happening out there later. So I usually start with me playing music. I think I'm going to invite you to play music.
You would like me to play a song now?
Uh-huh. Yes. I
Okay.
would if you're willing to.
I'm willing to play a song. Sure. Let's do that then. You'll tell me if you can hear me okay. I'll offer this one. This one I just wrote recently.
Oh, this is okay. Wow, you're a songwriter too.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a wonderful songwriting partner and musical partner who's got the most beautiful, just an incredible person and an absolutely beautiful voice. And um, so I, I can't offer the voice that she has, but I can offer my very best. And so perhaps I'll do that. Yeah. I'm going to take the headphones off while I play. You can hear me okay? It's no problem. I'm going to take
Yeah,
my headphones
yeah.
off.
I'm gonna mute my mic now.
Cool. In the stillness before life awakened, the music lived in the silence ancient. Songs of days to come, when we dance together to the drum. Never before, forever after, always. In the stillness, we will hear the song of these days. This fear will not tear our world apart. Guide us to the center of our heart. Will you come with me one more time again, and give these songs back to the wind? Never before, forever after, always. In the stillness, we will hear the song of these days. In the stillness, we will hear the song of these days.
Oh my God, thank you. Yeah, people are talking about how soothing your music is,
Thank you.
and it is.
Thank you so much.
I really, when I look at the stress of the world we're in right now, I think art and music are the key to making it through it.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause what do you do with the pain?
Cry.
Yeah.
I mean, dance it, write music about it. I've seen people do that over the years.
Yeah. I I don't think I really appreciated until quite recently in my life. I mean, in the past months,
Hmm.
the real relationship between like suffering and art and creation.
Hmm.
I can't say that I understand it either. I would just say that I'm more connected to the sense of that relationship.
Yeah.
I felt it move through me a lot more, partly
Yeah.
because I've been like, I've been in pain. I
Yeah.
felt more pain lately
Yeah.
than I let myself feel often in my life.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And music for me, I did the first gong bath in 2 years yesterday, which way overdue. Um, and that form of prayer for me is both feeling what's going on in the room, in the world, and transmuting it through prayer. And at one point, I think I was on Earth and Sun gongs, and just doing, the eagle medicine, heaven and earth prayers with that one, with those two. And I felt somebody young and female in Ukraine terrified, and and just was like, as an empath, I can feel things like that. And I felt like almost throwing up and then coughing from smoke. And I'm in the gong bath going, okay, don't cough, just, crawl over to where my water is and get some water. And the water was next to a packet of sunflower seeds that I had put on the altar to
Hmm.
bless and pray for Ukraine. And it's just, all I can do is sit there and cry while I play. I mean, there's a lot of pain and suffering in the world, and music is the vehicle for me that can broadcast the antidote to change the frequency, to do better in the world. And as an empath, I feel it all the time. I have been crying since this war started. I can feel it.
Yeah. A prayer and an inquiry for me is about how can that kind of resonance enter the heart of the perpetrator,
Yeah.
you know? Because I think a lot about the power of like creating our own reality. And,
Hmm.
I've built like a whole life around me, a community of people,
Hmm.
great, incredible. I got nothing but great people in my life, like to a person, not even mediocre. I just have wonderful
Hmm.
people around me, and
Hmm.
the stuff that I'm involved with, and it's all just like awesome. And I'm like, and one thing that I've really woken up to is like, oh my God, like I mean, I've done that on purpose, right? Because
Yeah.
part of the whole thing is like, how do you sort of change the system? You manifest a way of living that's just great,
Hmm.
and people want to
Hmm.
do it and be part of it, and
Hmm.
so there's that, and then there's like an unwitting alienation from
Hmm.
a more collective thing that's taking place, and
Hmm.
this shit is shocking, and
Hmm.
and it's like, okay, there's that being out of touch with that way. And so, yeah, like blessings to all the victims and people who are suffering, and to the perpetrators. Because if we
Yeah.
can't get the
Yeah.
medicine in their heart, where are we going to go?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I have. I mean, I was raised military, and my dad was in Vietnam twice and Korea once before I was born. So I'm familiar with the pain of this, you know, and I don't like it, but I'm familiar with it. And and I've been looking. What I've been looking at is, you know, like war is a very extreme expression of a frequency on this planet. And I've been looking at where it begins. What's going on in the world and the frequencies that are subtle and powerful ways of co creating competition and conflict and struggle. I'm teaching a class that combines heart math and Greg Braden, and we're talking about how the belief in conflict and competition is an erroneous belief that humans are actually more cooperative than we have been led to believe or programmed to believe. And it was funny because yesterday before the concert, I had somebody email me who has been sending me emails on a daily basis to do something on a website that I supposedly signed up for, only they don't even have my name right and I never signed up for it. And, you know, and I'm just looking at the energy coming from this kind of marketing, which is very intrusive and draconian. And I'm like, number one, not my name. Number two, never signed up. Number three, you're spamming me. Number four, what you're doing is adding to the frequency in the world that is so dissonant. Do better. I'm just like, you know, it's nice being an old fart because I can just like, I don't care what people think of me when I'm doing stuff like that. But I mean, it was such, she actually responded, you know, to, oh my God, that wasn't my intention, you know, because usually you never get a response out of stuff like that. But I'm like, where can we all do better on a daily basis? And I'm just going to go music terms. Are we creating dissonance or are we creating cooperative harmony? And I have begun to ask myself that question watching what's going on in Europe. It's like, this isn't isolated. You know, we are all connected. We all have a part of this in some way. So how do we do better? How do we change the harmony? How do we change the dissonance? And you know, and I don't have any grand answers. I'm in the inquiry of, okay, I can look at it and go, well, that's over there and I don't have to worry about it, or I can go, yeah, I've got a lot to do with this too. How can I do better? So that's where I'm throwing out my questions, you know, in the world.
There's a lot of power. You threw a lot of chum into the water, Jody.
I do that.
You know, there are a lot of pieces floating around. I'm going to snap up a few here. I guess, I guess one thing that you threw out that I just find so interesting, not intellectually interesting, it really captures my like attention, is the role of dissonance, because it's here.
Yeah.
You know, like this stuff is here. And I want to say, because this sort of, you know, where I'm going is it can be very easily misunderstood. So I'm just going to put my trust in the expansive understanding that is here in the space. But like everything that is happening is a catalyst for something else. It's in a chain. It has antecedents, and it is generating things that it is itself an antecedent, or these are antecedents of things that are coming. And so there's this vital role that dissonance plays too. You know, and so part of that is and you know, it is possible, because the universe is doing it right now, to hold it while also recognizing that it's not okay, and recognizing that there's a function.
Yes.
What is that function? We're never going to really understand. We can have hints and guesses.
Yeah.
We can intuit. But I think always of my, and back to the thing that you were raising about focusing on myself. I
Mhm.
recognize in my own self too that like so many of the things that were misfortunes, and I don't say this in a way of like, oh, it all worked out in the end and it was tied up in a bow. It's more like the necessity of those experiences and hard times
Mhm.
to form some deeper and greater strength and
Mhm.
understanding and a better way of life, which is not to say that fucking killing people under any circumstances is any good, pardon my
Yeah.
language, but just I say it to emphasize
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
I was raised military. The F word is one of my favorite embellishments of language.
sorry.
It's okay. We get away with that. Yeah, I agree with you. It's for me personally, since this has started, I have had my heart crack open in ways into compassion that it hasn't for a while. The whole COVID lockdown thing got very introspective and and resist what's going on out in the world, and this brought my attention back out into the world in a way where I have more compassion. I mean, I can feel it, and it was just shocking almost to see how fast that happened. And in sound healing, when I play sound healing, I intentionally create dissonance so
Right.
that the pop can happen into a harmonic because it's healing. And yeah, I don't like that anybody is getting killed to this extreme of dissonance. And I'm praying that what comes on the other side of this is finally a way for humans to go, we've had enough of this shit. Let's change. That's my.
Yeah. And that takes me to an earlier part of your once before share, and speaking a little bit about, I guess I'll use my words to sort of what are in the roots of all of this,
Mhm.
and the competition, the frequency of competition and so forth,
Mhm.
and I reflect on that a lot, and the sense and feeling of scarcity really is I think it lies right down there in the roots, because when we feel full, when there's
Mhm.
a sense of abundance and
Mhm.
fullness,
Mhm.
our capacity to see you as me, to be in
Mhm.
community with one another, and
Mhm.
behave in a cooperative way, it's very different. When
Yeah.
I am concerned that I don't have enough, then the thing that gets triggered, and it's in our evolutionary biology,
Mhm.
we other, we create the
Yeah.
other, and
Yeah.
and that's when we go into, and what's interesting about that then is when I am in that mode, I will trigger you to be in that mode, because
Mhm.
I'll face you in that way. And
Mhm.
whenever I'm faced by somebody in that mode, I move, so it locks us in. We get locked in. And so, so there's that place. It's the place of the feeling. There's both the realities and the feelings of scarcity,
Yes.
and how we can be surrounded by so many forms of prosperity, including not just material prosperity, but prosperity and love and support,
Mhm.
and yet
Mhm.
not feel it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so it's, in a way, its effects, when we see it at this scale, are just utterly shocking.
Mhm.
And I can think of so many examples just, in my immediate daily life, where that little pinch, that sense somehow, and what it does to me. And so in a way, it's helpful because it helps me relate
Mhm.
to the perpetrator,
Mhm. Yeah.
and the energy
Yeah.
behind it, and the
Yeah.
energy behind what ultimately leads to war. This
Yeah.
is in my heart too.
Yeah. Yeah. That is the third dimensional duality game. We have the capacity for both, shadow and light. And one of the things that I have worked with over the years in my work, my practice, is to be able to have whatever experience I'm having, because it's the love and fear thing. the two aspects of being able to hold whatever I'm experiencing as sacred without acting it out if it's in the fear realm of things, and finding a part of me that can still bless the, it's like if we were in a competition thing like you were saying, my practice would be, and which I'm not always successful, sometimes I am, to be able to just sit in that competition and not engage in the competition. Just be present for the fact that that's what's up. And the way I've practiced that when I used to live in Texas, um, I would practice this driving because, I
Oh
drive a
yeah.
truck, and I'm very vertically challenged. So it's nice to be in something that's tall enough for me to see over, other
I
people.
feel you, Jody.
and and driving in Texas, of course, I had a very small truck compared to most Texans, but driving the way things were getting before lockdown, there was a lot of aggression on the roads, and I'm talking about, I don't do freeways unless I have to. These would be the back roads, and and I can get that whole warrior archetype all triggered, like, yeah, you're just in a car, I'll ride right over you. Poor Veronica's driven with me when I've been yelling at people for getting them anywhere near my truck, and and what I would do is notice that I was going into full on warrior competition mode, not in a clean way, just this very aggressive energy. And I'm not hurting anybody, I'm energetically spewing. And I pay attention to my energy. And what I learned to do to calm me down is say the Ho'oponopono prayer. And I would just be driving and I would just be saying that to myself because it's a frequency prayer. Love, gratitude, accountability, forgiveness. Those are the four sentences, the four frequencies. And what I started noticing is it would completely change me, and everybody around me would start driving differently, which was not my intention. It was like, change me. Johnny is why I walk everywhere. Exactly. Josh can relate to you. But it was a way to be of service to myself first and be the broadcast station for what was going on around me. And it was not something I thought I could do, but what I do when I play gongs now, and I've been doing this for years, is whenever I'm playing gongs, I am chanting internally that prayer to broadcast that. It's like it's pure magic because I can either be part of the problem or part of the solution, and I can be a pain in the ass warrior, and not in the nice way, as Archangel Michael has informed me a few times. I'm Scorpio. I come with a stinger, and it's been interesting to attempt to apply that in the bigger context of the world that we're in. Okay, hang on, Eliza. I'm going to post your comment because you are in Hawaii and you
Hmm.
know this stuff. Um,
Yeah.
the I mean, my whole life is about frequency. My whole life is about shifting frequency in me and broadcast that out. It's been a real gift to live on a lake because that makes broadcasting way easier. You have a water thing to broadcast. When I move, it'll be more trees, and it's an interesting world. I mean, I'm like, if I'm judging what's going on out there, and this is something Greg Braden taught me in one of his first books, The Science of Compassion, I can look at what's going on in the world and absolutely not condone it. Which there's a lot going on that I do not support. And what he taught in those early years was learn to bless it compassionately, to disengage from the competition judgment part of the interaction, and then change the frequency. And that has been my practice, is to shift judgment into, okay, there's a war, cannot condone. I can bless the perpetrators and the victims and attempt to shift on that level, if that makes any sense. It's been a really interesting practice.
It's very beautiful, and it speaks to what Eliza has just commented on, and it's just always a reminder, like there are very few things that we have the capacity to control. Very few. I can control what I say.
Mm-hmm.
I can control. I can control my presence,
Mm-hmm.
how I am present here with
Mm-hmm.
you right now.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can absolutely do that. I cede my control to compulsion plenty, for sure, but I can do that, and it's always a reminder, like, um, it's plenty of work. Once I have fully exhausted that work, I can begin paying a little more attention to how you're rolling. But until such time, like, I've got plenty to do. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a really important reminder that I also, something you said about there are two things that were on my mind as you were sharing. Then, so as the blessing comes out and as the prayer goes out, you just don't know, right? You don't know how it will touch people. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know how the space around
Mm-hmm.
is going to shift. And it reminds me a lot of, like, prayer flags in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
just like I was
Mm-hmm.
in Bhutan just before the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic started. I was in Bhutan, and it was like, I was up in one of these crazy mountainous areas. It's in the Himalayas, and there was like this ridge, inaccessible ridge, and the Bhutanese prayer flags are placed on these massive, huge wooden poles. They're
Mm-hmm.
huge, like 30 feet more. They're huge and so heavy. Like, we saw them putting one up in a temple, and it was like, it took like 15, 20 guys to do this. And so
Wow.
there were a few of these up in a line on this ridge that was like, how could you ever walk up there, much less? So I was just thinking about these people who went up to do that. And the prayers are there and the flags, and all that's happening is the wind is just coursing through them all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing. It's like, you don't know where that
Mm-hmm.
prayer is going to go,
Yeah.
how it's going to be planted. You just have no idea. But
Yeah.
certainly nothing's going to happen whatsoever if you don't actually offer the prayer out and keep it going.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Last thing that I'll share is just that it just reminded me so much, like, the tuning, the internal tuning, right? So that I can resonate out in this really good way, like, so much work. What's also interesting that merits my attention to a lot and is part and parcel of that. So there's a kind of tuning for broadcast, then there's the tuning for receiving. How
Mm-hmm.
am I receiving your dissonance?
Mm-hmm.
How am I because it's so interesting that, because I can take what you're presenting to me, and
Yeah.
it can I can go off there. I can also see it with the compassion and the that beatific understanding of what's really happening here and
Mm-hmm.
what's happening
Mm-hmm.
with you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's also a really important aspect of that I just wanted to voice, is the way we receive
Yeah.
all the stuff, all the crazy, dissonant, not aligned, quote, the awakenedness of the unawakened stuff
Mm-hmm.
that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Can I
Mm-hmm.
receive it as expressions of the total perfection that this
Mm-hmm.
is?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I saw that yesterday in the Gong Bath. A comment that somebody made, like two people stayed after it was over, and one of them mentioned that there was zero competition in the room. And I've seen sound healers be competitive over the years that I've done it. And there were a good number of healers and sound healers in the room. And one of the things that I did at the end of the event is I asked everybody who did something in the sound or the sound healing or the healing realm to tell us what they did. And everybody, it's like, okay, you guys are sound healers. You're here because you're doing self care. I need to know when you do your thing so I can go do self care, and ooh, and you're opening up a new business, and so are you. I mean, it was fascinating. And what I told everybody is I'm going to like email me. I want to gather everybody's website so I can send it out to all of us. So we now have 18 more resources at our disposal in this area here in Arkansas, because we're sort of a rare breed around here. And it was, I mean, I remember in the early days when I first came to Texas with the bowls, there was a lot of competition. Oh, well, if you succeed, I won't, kind of thing, just to take the war into a very small scale. And my guides were like, you go out and teach everybody that you can to play bowls. And I'm like, okay, I'm joking with them, teach my competition. And they're like, yeah, exactly. Only there's no such thing. So get over that, And it was just, it was so neat to be in a room with really high caliber healers and go, and all of us just like, ooh, I want to know what you do and I want to know what you do, and this is so cool, and we're all here and we can support each other, because in that magic and in that moment we all co-created cooperation. And that doesn't always happen in events. Over the years that I've seen events, I have seen it go the other way with people in the room. But there was, as one woman said at the end, she's like, it was all equal power, which meant everybody was able to stay in a curious and cooperative place. And I'm like, okay, if we can do it in a group of 18, we can do this elsewhere. There's got to be a way to do it elsewhere. But it was really neat to see it, because this is my first big event. Big is all I could fit in there. This is my first event in Arkansas where I had a group of other healers like that in it, more than three or four. It was neat. It was just like, there's hope. For me, it's like there's hope for the world. If we can come together where we're all going after a market that is tiny, doing very similar things, and support each other, let's take that model out there somewhere. So it was fun. It was fun.
It's a wonderful reminder to always hold and bear a generosity of spirit, the same generosity of spirit that our teachers have always shown to us in bearing their wisdom and their knowledge.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that back to the fullness of being, the abundance of being, that when we're moved by that
Yeah.
motivation to share the abundance that we have and acknowledge that it isn't a zero-sum game, and ultimately too, just in the land of the practicals, what's so interesting is the mirroring of these things, because in
Mm-hmm.
the land of the practicals, I have just found in my personal experience in life as a person and life as a professional, that an unwavering dedication to being generous with what we know and what we learn has always done me really well. And I don't do it for the purpose
Mm-hmm.
of the return back. I don't. I really enjoy sharing.
Yeah.
And I can give some very powerful examples of what that has resulted in like material terms, financial
Mm-hmm.
terms, like
Mm-hmm.
things that have been done for me that are
Mm-hmm.
epic, like
Mm-hmm.
unbelievable stuff. So it goes around. That's just the
Yeah.
way. But you have to really dedicate for it to really work. You've got to. It has to be a pure prayer. You have to really give
Yeah.
your best, like really give that knowledge, that extra little bit about the bowl, that little thing that only you know through your
Mm-hmm.
experience,
Mm-hmm.
that little tip and trick. It's like you have to go all the way there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way it works. If you hold that, it's that little bit that you hold
Yeah.
back. That's what it all is about. And it, whether there's an external force, it doesn't matter. Inside yourself,
Exactly.
know.
Exactly. I remember you bringing up something that happened when we got locked down in Texas. from COVID. I mean, it was like, bam, it was done. All of us in the North Texas area that made our living off of doing gigs, doing sound healing, doing sessions, it got shut down. And that threw most of us into a little bit of a panic attack. And the first thing I did, probably the next day, was contacted Cornell, my beloved flute player, and Veronica, my favorite prayer partner, and said, "We got to do something. We can't just go hide in our separate corners. We got to get online and pray and do something." And we did. And I was watching people on social media that I knew freaking out about having to be online to do what they were doing. We talked about the gongs before we got on. And I had, by intuitive, the way I receive information, I had gotten the hit 2 years before COVID to learn how to do Zoom and to do sound healing on Zoom. So I had been practicing that for 2 years, futzing around with microphones and, in my limited knowledge that I do. And when everything went on Zoom, I'm getting on Facebook just going, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, you change your sound setting, blah, 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 go. And I literally had a sound healer, I don't remember who it was, come back to me and go, "You're actually sharing this with us?" And I'm like, "Darling, this ain't a competition. We need every one of us putting our frequency out over the airwaves that can do this." I mean, it was a shock that he even said that. It was like, "Of course I'm sharing this." Go out there and do your sound frequency. But it was a testament for me of how competitive the sound world has gotten. Of, "Oh, you're going to share how to do this," and I'm like, "Yes, to anybody who wants to know." I mean, you want to know how I do it? I'm sure there's 50 billion other people who can do it better, but this is what I've learned. And it was interesting in the gong world is I saw a lot of people test everything and go, "Here, try this mic." I mean, there was a ripple effect of people who were doing cooperation because as a frequency healer, if the frequency can be put out in a way that all of us can hear it, it will change things faster. But yeah, it was just that, yes, this is something I learned how to do in 2 years of trial and error and calling Zoom going, "What the fuck?" I don't have, this isn't working, So share it. So yeah, I get that. I get that. We can do that and not take away from our own work or money or whatever it is that people got afraid of in the beginning. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. This has been an interesting couple of years. Let me put it that way. Got all kinds of friends on here. Spirit of cooperation. Yes, Roseanne. So, I want to play a little bit of the gong that I now own because of Josh. I rolled his big butt here into this little tiny healing room. And then, do you have another song that you can play afterwards?
I would be happy to play another song for you
Okay.
if you'd like. Sure.
I have to change the sound setting. I need to learn from you on how you did that. I'm going to change the sound setting and play the bar chime chakra thingy dingies because they sound really good with the gong. And
I'm going to try to mute myself.
okay. So this gong, I don't know if you know the name I named. This gong's name is Tiger, and he plays a lot of D and A. So he's a D and A gong. I'm going to start over here. So thank you for bringing him to me.
Thank you for sharing it. I forgot how powerful that instrument is. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
I know.
Whoa. Whoa. I feel how it changed the feeling of the space, shared space. So, a song? One more? Here, okay? Sounds all right? All right. Once more with feeling. Divided in my heart between shadow and light. How can I hold all of this life? Your face seems so familiar, yeah, but I never see. Each moment is a place I've never been. We finally reach the hour. A seed never sees its flower. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I tell my same old story again and again and again. I only know that tired old refrain. I'm praying to the fire, yeah, sacred stones. Grandpa, I can't do this alone. It's time to own your power. A seed never sees its flower. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm always digging down for a diamond in the sand. Don't see the ones that are shining in my hand. What's the point of picking sweet fruit from your tree if you offer it to nobody? We finally reach the hour. A seed never sees its flower. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Maya, hey. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
A seed never sees its flower. That's like Paisley and I got the whoa off of that one. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. It's so much fun having somebody else do music on here. I like this. Ah, it's it's this is like the first time we've gotten to sit down and talk to each other, which is really cool. This is why I started these little interview things. It's like I get to know the people I love, better than I do just from the way we've all met. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's just been such a joy to be in dialogue like this and
Yeah.
inquiry and exploration and in this shared space with everybody who's joined
Hmm.
us today. Thank you so much being part of it. I feel your energy too and feel your presence in this and
Yeah.
yeah, very much.
Yeah. So thank you all on both Facebook and YouTube that showed up for this. Today's Sunday, right? I'm losing days. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central on Jenlyn Thoreau, she and I are going to do Sacred Sounds of Coffee. Only this is tea, but tomorrow we'll be doing coffee and have our monthly fun in the morning on our day off. We're both like, we stay in bed, we have to get up and talk. That's what makes it so magical. So, anybody who wants to join us, that one will be on her channel, so it'll only be on YouTube. And her channel is Jen Lynn Thoreau. And Josh, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm grateful that we're on this big starship in the sky together, anchoring what we're anchoring. And the same goes to the rest of you out there. We're doing a good job. It may not feel like it at times, but we are. Mama Earth has been saying thank you a lot lately to people like us. So,
Love you, Jody. Thank you so
love you,
much.
you all out there. I'm going to close this. Love you all. I even brought my cup.
Your buttercup.
I had that one made special to bless all the liquid, the water thing. But it's like it's really fun to hold that up in a live stream and go, see,
Right?
it's in writing. It's
Exactly.
gold. Okay, y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.